but it does smell good. If I can smell this and taste another whiskey, that would be absolutely wonderful. It just doesn't do it for me. I hate to say that, it just doesn't. Not all whiskeys are going to be hitters. This one, to me, is not a hitter. Welcome to Whiskey is a Journey. My name is Peter Fasciano, and in today's journey, we're going to head back to Bushmills, but we're not going to be looking at a Bushmills labeled whiskey. We're looking at the Irishman. This is actually made by the Walsh family. This is Bernard and Rosemary Walsh. Let's go ahead and pour it, nose it, taste it, and talk about it. All right, so the Irishman, Walsh Distillery. They source their whiskey, or at least they are sourcing this whiskey, the new make or the whiskey that's in this bottle. The juice, so you might want to call it, is sourced from Bushmills. I do believe Walsh Distillery is now producing their own distillate or their own new make, and they've revamped their bottle. Wow. But that is really fruity. I get pears right off the bat. So Walsh Whiskey, I do believe, is producing an Irish single malt, and they are now producing their own liquid. So I don't believe they're sourcing their other, the stuff from Bushmills any longer or down in Middleton. I don't know if they ever got stuff in Middleton. I know Writer's Tears was something that Walsh Whiskey or Walsh Distillery also produces, but I just haven't done that much research. If you guys know anything, let me know down below in the comments. I guess this is also a good time to say like, subscribe, share, comment down below, turn on that bell notification. I'm going to be switching gears. Wow, that is really, really peary. Lots of pears. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever had pear or this much pear coming from an Irish whiskey before. That smells amazing. Well, but I am going to be shifting gears here in a little bit and start getting back to the United States and looking at some bourbons. But I need to finish my single malt Irish whiskey reviews first. And I have one more, and I believe that's going to be Teeling Black Pits, an Irish peated whiskey. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and get on to the nosing and the tasting of this one. Up front, very fruity. Like I mentioned before, pears. This is coming in at 40% ABV, possibly chill filtered, possibly adding the A1E, E150A caramel coloring. It doesn't say it anywhere on the label, but there's nothing on the label indicating whether it's non-chill filtered or natural color. So I'm just going to assume that it's not. Boy, this really has a good pear smell. $52 coming in Phoenix, Arizona. I've had this whiskey before, and I'm impressed with the nose. That's why I'm preventing myself from tasting it right now. What else do we know about this? Triple distilled. Again, sourced from Bushmills, or at least this batch is. They're considering this to be a small batch, a small batch, a limited batch, a limited release. On the label, it's giving me, where is it at? Right here. So it's giving me the indication that this is batch 0137, and it was bottled in 2019. Product of Ireland, small batch, Irish whiskey, single malt. There's a whole bunch of, I don't want to say propaganda, but there is a bunch of boasting, getting back to Irish roots, producing the best Irish whiskey possible, yet chill filtered and maybe E150A added. Also 40% ABV. So even though all of the hype on the label, maybe what they're actually producing might not necessarily be, in my opinion, getting back to the Irish roots of like the best single malt Irish whiskey out there. All right. Wonderful nose. Let's go ahead and taste it. All right, that's sweet. I'm getting some vanilla. I don't get any pear at all. Brown sugar, dark fruit, plums, raisins. Funny, I don't get that on the nose, but on the palate, definitely. There is a dark sweetness, if that makes any sense, like brown sugars, dark fruits, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of honey, no barrel tannin, no sting to the tongue, no burning going down, soft, a little bit flat. Let's go ahead and taste it again. Look at the finish. Fruity, not much spice to it, not much development to it. I'm not getting many hints of oak or barrel. Very short finish, very thin, very flat, doesn't develop into anything. Now, I also need to pause and let you guys know, this is my opinion. You can look at 50, 60, 70 different reviews from a specific whiskey and you'll get that many differences. Some people like it, some people won't like it. Some people will get other tastes out of it, nosing. Everybody has their own opinion. Everybody's coming at this whiskey at a different place, a different time, a different opinion. So this is just my specific opinion on this whiskey on this particular day. I've had the whiskey for, I don't know, probably about 3 months now. My routine is to get the whiskeys. I go to my brother-in-law's house. We open them up. We do an initial tasting. We talk about it. I put it on my shelf. I revisit it a couple of times. And then on the week of my review, I'll have it on Monday with and without water. Then I'll have it on Wednesday. And then I'll have it again on my review day. And each time that I'm doing this, I got something slightly different from this. And it wasn't anything in a positive direction. So I put this review off for a while because I wanted to make sure that I really had a good idea of what this whiskey was about with and without water in the early afternoons, maybe even the late evenings after I ate something, made sure I didn't eat anything. And I wanted to make sure that I truly was getting what I was getting from the nose and from the taste and the finish. There is no doubt that the nose on this is by far the best thing about this whiskey for me. I am not a fan of the taste. Now, even though it is sweet, it is fruity, it's got that dark fruit flavor, which is something that I like. This is aged and finished. Where is it at? This is matured in ex-sherry, which is the Oloroso, and this is also in ex-bourbon casks. Those are two things that I like. I like the Oloroso. I like the sherry finishes. I like that dark fruit. I like the vanillas and the honeys that come from the ex-bourbon. And the smell on this is just nothing but sweet pear. But then when you taste it, you get little hints of all of that thing, all of those things that I just mentioned. But there's no development. It's thin. It's flat. It doesn't do anything in the mid palate. You don't have a long finish. It kind of just is. And that's a little bit disappointing based on the way that it smells. I just thought there would be a little bit more. Now, just like before, I'll add water to it because I've added water to everything else. A couple of drops here only because it is a light whiskey to begin with. And I actually know how this reacts to water. And maybe it's going to surprise me this time. But we'll see. I'm going to let this sit for just a little bit. I'll be right back. All right, now we're back. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what the water has done to this. Not as strong pear on the nose. I mean, I would have to say that it has muted the flavors. Typically, when I add water to Irish whiskeys, they get a little bit more of a floral note. Not getting that. I still get that sugary sweetness. The pear is still there, but it's not as strong. Boy, I really wish this... I'm crossing my fingers. I hope this changed. Different day, different review. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. This just disappoints. It just flattened out a soft whiskey already. It thinned it out even more. The nose is a little bit dampened. 40% ABV. I was just hoping so much for this whiskey to change, but it just hasn't. Now, again, my opinion. I'm sure there's people that absolutely love this stuff. It's not offensive. I mean, it's not offensive in any way. It's not that it's bad. There's just, to me, nothing to it. It's almost like, why? That's my question. Why? Why such a hype on this with, and when you read the label, you're like, this is going to be absolutely fantastic. I mean, they're just talking about all this stuff and it just falls down. It doesn't hold up to the marketing that they're trying to throw at you. But it does smell good. If I can smell this and taste another whiskey, that would be absolutely wonderful. It just doesn't do it for me. I hate to say that, it just doesn't. Not all whiskeys are going to be hitters. This one, to me, is not a hitter. So let's go ahead and talk about the rating system. The lowest rated whiskey that I have on my shelf right now for Irish single malt was the Waterford Single Origin Farm, and that got 3. Again, like I'm saying, this is not offensive in any way, but I like this less than the single origin, the Waterford. So I would have to put this at 2.75. 2.75 for me. Because why? It just doesn't make sense to me that this would be on the shelf for $52, and there's just so many more Irish whiskeys that are in this price range and even a little bit less that kind of suit my palate more. So there we go, 2.75. So I think that's going to do it for me today. Not a home run hitter for me, 2.75. If you're new to the channel and you're not subscribed and you're digging this information, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that bell notification so when I go live with a video, you'll be notified. Comment down below if you disagree with me or agree with me. If you know anything about Irish whiskey, the Irishman with Walsh Distillery, leave some comments down below. Start a conversation. Share this with somebody that you know in the whiskey world. Enjoy your journey, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye. I'm going to leave this on a positive note and just smell it. We'll see you guys next time.